flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dr. Delosio, we've got some business to attend to here.
Thank you. So tonight I celebrate, is this on? Can you hear me? All right, good. Tonight I celebrate School Board Appreciation Month. I want to pause to express gratitude for the incredible work you, our school board directors, do for our students, schools, and the community. Serving as a school board director is a commitment with great responsibility, requiring vision, dedication, countless hours of hard work. Often the role is met without the recognition it truly deserves. The decisions you make shape the educational experiences for our students and have a ripple effect far into the future. Many people don't know that as elected officials, this position comes with no pay. Thank you. I thank each of you for your service to our school system. As a small token of appreciation, I'm presenting each of you with a board that was designed and created by our woodshop class under the direction of Mr. Kapachok. Mr. Kapachok worked diligently with his students to complete this project. So I thank you for your service and your commitment to our schools. You are appreciated.
Thank you, Dr. Delosio.
I will take a minute and hand these out
Okay,
right
do you
now.
need a hand?
Do I need a hand? No, I don't need you to give me a round of applause. But
This is great. Nice.
So every year I try to do something different, and I was reminiscing about my first year. And if those of you that were on the board when I first got here remember, we purchased library books that are at the library over at Snyder that recognize your hobbies or interests outside of your work field. I still remember Mr. Coles. It was about Papa, so being your grandfather, and many of the other ones. So those are over at the Snyder Library, and so I don't know, we just think of something different every year. So charcuterie board, wall hanging, whatever you want it to be.
Thank you,
You're
Dr.
welcome.
Delosio. All right, Mr. Handrick, fill us in on rebranding this evening.
I'm ready. I'm going to try to go kind of quickly, so if I talk too fast, just flag me down. I know
Somebody talk to you about a game tonight.
Mr. Hickey's
quickly.
got something, I don't know. He's already got one team that won on Saturday, so I don't, feeling like it's a good week for him. So this is a pretty long process, and I just kind of want to give you guys a little bit of the backstory about it. This started in the summer of 2023. We had concerns. We had student transfers. The M word was being tossed around. Merger. Okay? So there was some stuff going around. Apparently somebody thought I said another continent this morning in my presentation. And I just needed to clarify that. So we, as an admin team, we went on a kind of a listening tour, did some one-on-ones and some surveys, and we really wanted to define who we are, and we wanted a go-to slogan that helped define that. Well, life gets in the way, and we're all pretty busy, and we did work a lot on morale and motivation and getting kids involved in the 23-24 school year, but we still didn't have a slogan that we loved. So we went to a Jostens conference on school culture. It was in Disney World. If you don't remember approving it, it's because you didn't. We sat downstairs and watched it in the conference room. Okay? But it was still really good. John Jensen was one of the presenters, and we listened to over the course of 3 days. He talked about school branding and who you are. Our team continued to talk about his message and what he presented for a number of days afterwards. Jensen, if you don't know who he is, he's a business consultant. He's written 7 books. He has a facility in Colorado to help coach both profit and nonprofit organizations. His goal, quote, not about creating a mission statement or slogan. It's about getting real with who you are, identifying the meaning in what you do, and ensuring that you convey your strengths and weaknesses, strengths and values in every situation. Excuse me. So he works with Jostens, as I mentioned, and our yearbook company, and it was free. We're like, there's no way. Like, this just doesn't seem possible. So Mr. Claypool calls him. He takes the call. Lo and behold. Met with our admin team, asked us some hard questions. He wouldn't do it if we weren't all invested, which all of us were, everybody around the table here. So then we formed a bigger team, which was consisted of an entire admin team, Mrs. Podolinsky, Mr. Roy, Mrs. Ramsey, Mrs. Van Duzer, Paul and Tricia Blythe. So we had alumni, current students, coaches, teachers, and we did have 3 student representatives as well. And so about this time that we pulled the committee together, the M word went away. So that was no longer hanging over our head, and we're like, we got to run. Like, this is so much more important than ever before. So he sent us a survey. You guys approved that. We sent it out. Some of you hopefully completed it. He said we had a very good participation percentage, and some of the themes that came out, family, community, we're bonded, we're resilient. Went through the whole 42 pages of results with us. And in creating our new brand, I use that loosely, we had to create something that passed this test. It had to be actionable. It had to be for everything, from music to academics to athletics to who we are as people, everything. We had to be able to live it in all aspects of what we did. And he has something that he calls the trombone test. It has to pass the trombone test. We have a slogan that we've thrown around here for years. It says Redskin Pride. Okay, we liked it, but it's not really actionable. If you're the third chair trombone player and you want to be first, Redskin Pride. What do I do? Like, how does a kid act on that? So we were like, okay, all right, well, that makes sense. So we've worked for months, rejected a ton of ideas, had a ton of discussion. We dismissed battle on, bonded in battle, forged in battle. But one of the things that really came through was family and togetherness through the survey. So what we finally settled on was one tribe and then aim high. And we worked with Jostens to create some new images. I got it. Howie, can you grab the lights? Sorry, I forgot you were back there. And so we created a few images. This is one of them. This would be a larger one generally. Back of a jacket, on a wall. And throughout all of them, obviously, we know the culture a little bit. You could get this with Sayre Redskins. You can get it with just Sayre. Whatever the team, coach, or person wants. We really like the established part, too. Thanks, Coach Blythe. He's probably not watching. He's probably at practice or coaching. There's a game today. And then we have this one as well. Again, I'm showing you this one without the redskin, or the word Redskins, and just to kind of give people some options. And then finally, this we have in red and blue, and again, could be with the mascot head, could be without. And this is the, I'm not going to say the name right, it's the proper Haudenosaunee, the Iroquois. So this is a tribute to them. They used the 6 arrows intercrossed for the 6, that their federation was stronger with the 6 tribes together than it was one by itself. And so those are the 3, well, there's more than 3 if you count the variations, but those are the 3 that we're kind of trying to stay consistent with. And we're pretty excited. The team put a ton of time into this. I don't know how I ended up here talking to you about it, but Everybody was an integral part of it. Questions?
Well, I'll answer your question on how you ended up there. You led most of the committee meetings, and so we thought it was a natural piece for you to stand before the board and the team and community to share this information. So if you'll go back to the second one,
I'll try.
just hit the back. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
So as he was saying, if you want to have the word, say, or Redskins, edit into that. If you want to have the mascot
Barry, you
on
can-
this, you'll have that option
You know
when
what
you're
they look
choosing
like.
and selecting things. Okay. Any questions for Mr. Handrick?
Well, good job.
Mrs. Blythe, you were on the team. Anything you'd like to add?
I think it's important to
Can,
note.
I'm sorry, can you pull the microphone right in front of you so that the people
I
in
was trying to
the
use my
community
teacher
can hear
voice.
you?
Sorry.
Yes. Nope, that's okay. I just want them to be able to hear.
Okay. Can you hear me now? No. Okay. I think it's important to note that the team, I think there were 16 or 17 of us in total, worked really hard on all of these logos, is what I'm going to call this. It wasn't that Justin sent over these three and we just picked them and ran with it. So we went through, I would say, probably 50, or at least it felt like 50 variations, and we finally got three that we all really, really loved. So that part is really important, and obviously the part where you can make it your own, but it still stays true to who we are as the Sayre Redskins, and that was really important to us as well.
So I know Mrs. Podolinsky and Mrs. Ramsey are here as well. Would you like to add any components? I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you'd like to add, please.
No, I was just
Mr.
gonna say,
Handrick.
there was a lot of discussion, there was a lot of heartfelt, talks about this, so this decision wasn't taken lightly. We had a lot of, alumni and people that have graduated from Sayre, now are employees and continue to, try to put everybody's best interests, in the forefront, and I think that we did a pretty decent job.
And kind of our first act tomorrow, when teachers log it, can I tell that?
Yeah, maybe we'll
Okay,
do that.
all right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like, are we keeping that a secret?
Yeah, go ahead.
When teachers, when teachers log into their BenQ boards tomorrow to kick it off for the kids and everybody, that's going to be the new backdrop for their BenQ boards, and that idea was Mr. Templeton's. I don't want to steal that from him, but I took it and ran with it, so.
And what did JC add to that, our tech director?
Yeah, he
Did
had
you do
the red and blue behind it,
Yeah.
the, what did you call
ombre?
it?
Is that what it's called? When
I
you
don't know.
fade from one to the other nicely?
Yes.
Yes, it goes from red to white to blue on the bottom, on the back of it.
So, all
So
right.
one of the other components we'll be doing with this, so that we continue with the branding and really put it out there, it's kind of, Mr. Handrick and I have talked about, it's like putting the stake in the ground, right, the arrow in the ground. And so we'll be pushing out some different things to staff. We're going to do a signature line on everybody's email. We'll all have the same components. We'll fill in our names, our titles, our emails, all of those things, so that at the end of every email, every member of our staff will have that, and it will look the same. So we'll do some uniformed components across our district as a whole. So that's one thing that the team is working on with one of those three. Okay? But everyone will have the same one. So, ideas that can come forward and push to us, we'll push that out so we have more of that uniformity across the district. I know that Mr. Claypool set aside some funding that was already budgeted for branding, and so I know that he's thinking about what's coming to the building to put some of these up in the cafeteria, in the hallways, at both buildings, so those components and can start to work through that processing as well. Mr. Claypool, you were on the team. Do you want to add anything as well?
No, I thought it was a good discussion. I thought that there was a lot of good ideas from everyone, and you guys all pretty well hit that already, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Delosio.
All right, so I have an announcement tonight. I know that the board members and staff that have received my email know that my resignation is on the agenda this evening. So I want to say that when this school year began, I did not intend to make a change. However, an unexpected opportunity presented itself, and after thought and consideration, I decided that it aligns with my goals and passions and will benefit my future. Serving as the Sayre Area School District Superintendent for the past 5.5 years has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my career. Together, we have achieved so much. I remember my first year as a superintendent. For those of you that might not have been here 5.5 years ago, halfway into the year, I broke my leg, called the board president, who happened to be Pete at the time, and told him that he really broke me in as a first-year superintendent. I had returned to the office mid-February, and the next month was a worldwide pandemic. So it was really a lot of learning on the job. As many of you know, leadership comes with challenges, and there are always lessons to be learned. I'm grateful for those who were patient in my early years and those who assisted as we navigated challenging times. So many members of this school community have been collaborative and assisted in moving us forward to make progress as we serve the students of the community. Just to name a few, I couldn't be more proud that the teams work together for the students to have new ELA materials, social studies, and math resources, and a team is still working diligently today, and they actually met today, to have a new science resource. So all core programs will be updated. There are 60 dual enrollment credits available for our high school students. Parent Advisory Committee was added in a response to parents in wanting to voice their concerns. Every classroom has an 86-inch BenQ board. Professional development in meeting the mandates of the state has been put in place. Every student has a device available to them. The building and grounds improvements that have happened throughout that process are nothing to shake your head about. The website has been refreshed, an app is now available, the finances are stable thanks to Mr. Claypool and his team. Policies have been updated, and that takes time. And the committee work that has been done in this school district, whether it be a committee of student council, the committee of the board, the work has been outstanding. This is a small snippet of the work that has been done in the last 5.5 years, in which a worldwide pandemic hit and took 18 to 24 of those months. As I said in my letter to the board and staff last week, thank you for the trust and support you have extended to me throughout my tenure. I am profoundly grateful for the relationships formed in my experiences at Sayre Area School District. Since I started the year without intending to leave, I'm offering to repay the school district 50% of the tuition from my national certification program that I attended. I feel blessed that you offered that to me. Again, I will cherish my time here and remember fondly the memories that I've made and the friendships that will last a lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Delosio. On the public comments, again, the chair wishes to recognize a resident or taxpayer of the Sayre Area School District wishing to address the board about title programming or any other matter of concern or interest properly raised in a public session. We ask that you give your name, address, and the subject of your content you will be addressing. It's requested you keep your comments to 3 minutes. Moreover, please note that comments relative to private student or employee matters should be directed to the superintendent outside of this meeting. So on that note, is there anyone that would like to address the board at this time? All right, I see none, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. We'll start with item number 2, the minutes from the meeting of January the 6th. Moving down to instruction, the conference requests, as well as in letter B, the field trip requests. Letter C, district volunteers. Letter D, the school calendar draft for the 25-26 school year. Number 4, finance, the January transfers, as well as the treasurer's report, the cafeteria for December, and as well as the revenue report there. The Berkheimer tax report, even going up above that, the capital projects, federal fund, or that is the federal programs and general fund for December, and letter B. Now we'll go down to letter C with the Berkheimer tax report for December 24 as well. Letter D, the RFP awarded to approve the Keystone Associate Architects, Engineers and Surveyors LLC, along with the Aris Engineering Group Limited, to provide architectural and engineering services for the bathroom renovation project for a sum of $82,400. Letter E, the Bradford County TCC voting delegate appointment resolution to nominate the persons involved with that function. The MOU for the Northern Tier Regional Planning and Developing Commission, letter F. Number 5, personnel. The board report that is in your packet. So do we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Comments or questions?
Which bathroom, what's the bathroom project?
That's the one that we got a grant for from the state. It's gonna take the bathrooms down here by the gym in the science wing hallway, and it'll make a couple of handicap accessible, single-use rooms, and then there'll be 3 or 4, I think, other single-use rooms put in there. And then at Snyder, it's the same kind of thing there in the locker rooms by the cafeteria gym. And I think they're gonna put 2 handicap accessible single rooms in each of those.
And this is for engineering services,
Yeah.
that portion, and do
Yeah.
we know how much the grant will cover relative to the whole project?
40%-ish.
It was $400,000 that we received, yep.
Yeah, we're figuring it'll be 1 to 1.1 probably.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments at this time? Seeing there is none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Now down to the roll call agenda items. First, letter A, to pay the January bills. Do we have a motion and a second to pay the bills?
Motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on the bills? All right, Mrs. Lucheko, a roll call, please.
We'll begin with Mrs. Agnew,
Yes, except I abstain on number 2, please.
Mrs. Black. Yes. Mr. Hickey,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Root,
Yes.
Mr. Sturcon,
Yes.
Mr. Cole.
Yes. Down to letter B, the 25-26 Northern Tier Career Center budget. If you would like, I'm going to pass these out. There is a report as well in that budget as well. If I can pull.
Is this the synopsis, or this is?
Yes, yeah, the synopsis should be in there. Mhm. And just to let you know, the share that we'll be paying will be going up $25,000 from $231,840 to $257,185. And also, there is an increase in the budget for $191,402 total. So,
Ron,
Any-
how does that share break out amongst the school districts?
yeah, the way they do that, Donnie, is they use 75% of the quota, which is the students that are eligible for the Northern Tier Career Center. Then they also then add in the 25%, man, I can't speak tonight, the 25% of the students that do come from our districts to take part in the programs down there.
And our share compared to other districts relative to the increase?
Yeah,
Are we seeing less of an increase, greater increase, more
a-
share, less share?
Yeah, actually, it's more of an increase this year. The reason being is because we have more students that are attending down at the Career Center currently. I believe we got 43 students, 44 students. I'm not sure. 43, right? Thank you, Mrs. Ely. Yes, there's 43 students. That's the largest census we've had down there in quite a long time. That's probably about an increase of maybe 10 to 12 students so far. So,
Yeah, I just think putting it in context would be helpful for the board, just relative to, you know, the mix of students from the various districts, how our share compares to other shares and that sort of thing.
So I believe the attachment is the full budget presentation. If you want to give us a couple minutes, I could ask Mr. Hendrick to pull that up so we could present it if you'd like to see the
Yeah, it
breakdown
doesn't need
across
to-
the districts.
I think, you know, again, I mean, I can go look at the attachment, it's just kind of creating just a summary
Sure.
assessment
Yeah.
that's applicable to our district as it relates, just to make sure,
yeah, we can also get a copy of this as well, Donnie. It's got a breakdown of all
This is a good page for you to look
8,
at.
9 school districts within the Career Center.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments about that budget? All right, Mrs. Lucheko.
I'm not sure you have a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, could we get a motion in a second on that? Okay, now, any other questions or comments? I better throw that back out there again. All right, now, Mrs. Lucheko.
Okay, we'll begin with Mrs. Slide.
Yes.
Mr. Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Skirpon?
Yes.
Mrs. Agnew? Yes. Mr. Cole?
Yes. Down to letter C, the 25-26 Blast IU 17 proposed budget for the general operation budget for the IU 17. Do we have a motion and a second to accept that budget?
Motion.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Questions or comments on the IU budget? Seeing there is none, Mrs. Lucheko.
We'll begin with Mr. Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Skirpon?
Yes.
Mrs. Agnew? Yes. Mrs. Slide? Yes. Mr. Cole?
Yes. Letter D, Principles for Governance and Leadership. This is a recommendation for members of the Sayre Area School Board to pledge to follow the PSBA Principles for Governance and Leadership as presented. Again, this is something we do every year. Again, even though we are to adhere to this, it doesn't mean we have to really, we can formulate through the principles of how we would like to conduct business within our school district. I want to make that clear, so. Do we have a motion and a second to accept the principles from PSBA?
Motion.
Second?
Motion and a second. Questions or comments? Seeing there is none, another roll call, Mrs. Lucheko.
We'll begin with Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Skirpon?
Yes.
Mrs. Agnew? Yes. Mrs. Slide?
Yes.
Mr. Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes. Item number 7, a completion of the teacher induction program. We want to say congratulations to Ms. Heidi Elston for successfully completing the new professional employee induction program. Dr. Delosio, would you like to make any comment on this?
So, Ms. Elston was hired just a little over a year ago, and I'd like to share that she was a graduate, I believe, in 20, and finished her degree early at Mansfield and wanted to come back to work here. And she was our top candidate for picking for that English position when she came to be, and it was has been a great pick. Mrs. Ely, would you concur on that?
Yes, she's doing a wonderful job.
Outstanding. And so she completed the induction program, which is a requirement of the state. It will move to a 2-year requirement this upcoming year as we move forward with this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Delosio. High school principals report, Mrs. Ely.
Good evening, everyone. Just a little reminder to parents and students, if your child needs grade improvement, they can request that between now and January 30th. Final report card grades for quarter 2 will post in Family Access this Thursday afternoon, but you can check at any point to see updated grades and missing assignments. I have some good news. Last week I was informed that we had a grant awarded here at the high school. It is attached to that MOU that you just approved a moment ago. It's through the Northern Tier Regional Planning and Development Commission. We were able to secure funding for transportation costs so our juniors and seniors can tour area businesses. This will help our students to become aware of the career opportunities in our local area. This can help them with their career goals, making career decisions, and planning for future schooling options. It will also ultimately help our local businesses, we hope, to attract, hire, and retain qualified employees that are connected to and committed to our community. These trips will happen from now until the end of May, so Mrs. Schreiber is in the process of setting these tours up. So check in with your students, any parents that are listening, to ask them if and when they will be attending any of those. And lastly, we are continuing our partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters this year. We have 2 bigs and 2 littles that are partnered up that meet once per week here at the high school. These pairings started last school year and they were a success, so we continued them into this school year. We currently have 7 bigs waiting to be paired up with a little. And we have 4 littles that we're waiting on the applications to come back from the families for. So we're hoping that that will happen in the next few weeks and we can get them paired up. This program has really proven to be a great way for our junior high students to have a positive role model and mentor that they can chat with, do fun projects with, and look up to. It's also been a way for some of our juniors and seniors to make a connection with a student, share their insight on navigating peer and academic situations, and gain some valuable skills for their future. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Ely. Okay, Mr. Howie, the assistant principal's report. I know you have something tonight.
Yes, sir. I left by your name tag a quick overview. Excuse me. Discipline comparison between the 23-24 school year. I only took it through January 20th, so that would be an accurate representation as opposed to a full year versus half. So any numbers you see are from August 15th to January 20th of 24, and then this school year ends obviously on today's data. I'm kind of happy to report for the first time a huge negative in our life. We went down in every category significantly. Number of referrals is almost in half, and that just watersheds all the way across through that, resulting in under, if we maintain pace, and we know the universe doesn't always do that, but if we maintain pace, we'll be under 1,000 referrals for the year. And the first full year I sat, there were just over 2,000. So anecdotally, I would like to refer that to the teachers, students, and community all have their feet back on terra firma as to what's going to go or what's happening, and now we can move forward. So everybody's not so nervous and wonky. So I want to thank the teachers and the kids because they're the ones who are actually doing this. Do you have any questions on the numbers that are there?
No, these are great.
If there's somebody here, there are extra copies on the table there as well.
Thank you.
Good job, Mr. Howie. Thank you. Mrs. Morrell from Snyder.
Good evening, everyone. Just a reminder, our Polar Pop Dance will be this Friday, January 24th, for our 5th and 6th grade students at Snyder. We're looking very much forward to that activity. We had a great time with no problems at our last dance, and we expect that to happen this time as well. We had a very busy professional development day. Lots of activities went on. 2 reminders, kindergarten registration is March 7th. You must be 5 before September 1st. Please call the main office and ask for Mrs. Morgan to schedule an appointment. Report cards, as Mrs. Ely mentioned, will be going home January 23rd. If you have any questions, please make sure you contact your child's teacher. And we just finished our middle of the year testing. I'm sure we'll go over these results at curriculum, but I was very happy, along with Dr. Delosio to give congratulations to our students and teachers. They made some very great gains on the middle of the year testing. We're very proud of their efforts and their improvements and the action plans that they've developed to help those kiddos that were quite close to making the benchmark move into those areas for our middle of the year tests. So I'm sure there'll be more to come on that. So congratulations, everyone. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Morel.
You're welcome.
From PSBA, all I have to report right now is that I'll give this to Dr. Delosio. There's a teacher, or I should say, Teach Rock Educators Workshop that's taking place down at the headquarters down in Mechanicsburg on February 25th from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. This was the particular course that Stevie Van Zandt, our keynote speaker, had given to us. It is a great program to help with social and emotional wellness, as well as classroom discussions involving music, and there's several things in that workshop. You can go out on the PSBA website and take a look at that. Also, there's a school safety summit meeting, March the 27th, 8 a.m. till 3:30 p.m. Again, worthwhile to maybe, again, people that are involved with the buildings, security. It's open as well to board members if you'd like to go down. The Pennsylvania SSI tour and demonstration is terrific. If you've never had a chance to go through that, I highly recommend it. Again, that's 8 till 3:30, March 27th, down at the PSBA headquarters. Deb, do you have anything for the IU-17? I'm going to skip over you because I want to get a couple of things in order for the Career Center. Thanks. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Be another 10 minutes.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 there. That's the summary for the last meeting, which was last Wednesday, the biggest thing on the back. The IU had their board appreciation, and Mrs. Morel, if you would please come up. Every year, they dedicate a book, and this one is for elementary, this year for the board appreciation. Each director gets one to give to their libraries. So this one is The Alphabet War. It's a story about dyslexia. It's cute. So I bring it to you for the library. Thank you. You're welcome. And that's all. Thank you.
Now I'll go to Northern Tier Career Center. And again, we had our budget that was okayed through us. Thank you, folks, for that. Just a few things. I know I won't go through everything on these sheets, but I just want to point out there's 64 students participating in the co-op and DO programs. The Skills USA will be attending district competition January 31st down at Penn College, where 44 students are involved in the programs that will be presented there. Articulation agreements have been updated with the Commonwealth University of Pennsylvania. The agreement will allow for pre-nursing program to earn up to 7 credits and early childhood program to earn up to 6 credits. So again, that's a big plus for the Career Center. Also, if you want to go out on the site, the machine and tool technology auction is still going on. There's a lot of good stuff down there for bid. And also, I want to push out to our board that demonstration night is Thursday, March 6th, 6 till 7:30 p.m. If you really want to see how the Northern Tier Career Center works, this is excellent to go to. But if anybody is planning on wanting to get down there to attend, go early, because like I said, that place will be packed with people and parking is pretty slim after 6. So, but other than that, that's everything I have from the Career Center this evening. So now we'll get down to committee reports. If there's any of our chairs wishing to give a report at this time on their committees, we'll open up the mics to them.
two. We had a finance committee meeting last Monday. Besides looking at the budget and everything going on this year with that, we had our auditor come in, who did our end of the year audit, state audit. As again, for the was it last 5 years? Last 5 years, we've had an unqualified audit, which is the best audit you can get. There was no material weaknesses found. We had the auditor, Rich, come in, and he spoke to us, gave a presentation on the audit, and said everything was fine out there, that things are going well, and the business office is moving forward. These audits are very good, and I'd like to thank Barry and his team out there. Sean was there at the meeting also. We had issues out there, as everybody can remember who's been here for a while, but ever since they have taken over out there, every audit we've had has been unqualified like this, so great job to the business office, and let's keep it going.
Excellent.
Also, then we had a building and grounds meeting, same night. We discussed some of the summer projects that are gonna happen. We're looking at replacing the bleachers out here in the football field, doing some work on the gym floor. Like Barry already said, we have, and there's a bathroom project for each school that needs to be done. We did get a grant for that, but we're gonna have to kick in some, 60% of the money for it, but it's things that are needed, updating the schools. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Hickey. Anyone else wishing to give a report? On that note, I will, I was a little bit hesitant there, Mrs. Blythe. Okay, not a problem. First of all, I want to thank everyone for those that helped out during the emergency at the high school with the incident that happened down in the cafe over the weekend of January 10th. I know that there was a lot of hard hours put in by our staff and countless other people here within our school community as well as in our own community with their businesses and stuff that came in. Thank you for that. Also, the Scholarship Challenge team performed well up at Tioga Central at their competition. Give them a shout out as they get ready for next month's competition down at the Sayre Theater on the radio station. Also, the musical is getting prepped. Building starts on Saturday, right, Mrs. Kometz? Yes, okay.
Anybody wants to give a helping hand?
Yeah, and anybody that would like to lend a hand, come on over to the auditorium. What time, Felicia?
I was just gonna look.
Okay,
It's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
10 till 2 on Saturday. Also, I want to say, great job on the rebranding. Thank the committee for that as we start, again, to move forward. There's so many things to hand out. Also, I want to also make mention, do go out to our website because there's tons of things out there that you can see what our students are doing and what they're up to, the fun, the learning, etc. out there. But the last thing I want to make mention is, again, with Dr. Delosio leaving, I just want to say that our school board made a decision back around 5.5 years ago to bring Dr. Delosio as our superintendent of schools. You know, in my thoughts, we didn't really hire the perfect superintendent, but we brought in the person that we were confident to perform the operations of the school districts, and let me say, you did just that, Dr. Delosio. Thank you. And again, observing a lot of things over the past 5.5 years, let me tell you something. She was a 24/7 employee behind and away from the desk, from her home, and when she was out of town. I heard from many people in the community, county officials, and even educators around the state at conferences tell me what a fine person we have as a superintendent and what a great employee she is. So, Dr. Delosio, thank you, and I'm sure there'll be more kudos to come. So, Thank you. All right, your turn.
My turn. So I'll thank you. I'll say, if you find that perfect person, let me know. I'm not sure perfect exists, but I'll take that, right? You know, and I spoke at the beginning and made an announcement. I don't have much in addition to say, but I will follow it up with, as you said, 24/7. I honestly am not sure everyone understands what the role of a superintendent is and the work that gets done. You know, when a call comes in at 4 a.m. because there was an electrical fire in your kitchen, you respond to that. When you get a call on a Thursday evening that there is a gas leak in your high school building, you are on site and in and out of the building and making sure that that all knows. And when communication pieces to that, right? Information out to staff, information to the board, my colleagues across the county, to the other 7 superintendents, because we always include Sullivan County as a part of the communication pieces. And I'll tell you that at the end of the weekend, I knew more about LEL readings and how to purge a cavity under an area and a variety of other pieces, things that I would have never thought I would have needed to know going into the field of education as a whole. And so those learning experiences are valuable, and they'll follow with me along the way. Just as a follow-up to the gas leak from last Friday, we opened up and we're ready to roll on Monday morning due to the efforts of Todd Green and his entire team from maintenance and custodial. Today, because we didn't have students on staff or students on site today, Jeff Paul and his team were here and they completed the fittings that they needed to do, ran them through the ceiling and down to the cafe and over to the stove that's in Mrs. Grunz's classroom. Then Valley Energy came in, tested all of the lines to make sure we're ready to go, and gave us the go-ahead at the end of the day. So all of that has been corrected and taken care of, and that wouldn't have happened without Todd and his diligence with his team, and I appreciate the work that they do. There wasn't a time that I didn't stop in, and Mr. Claypool as well. I don't think he knew I was here that Saturday or Sunday. I can't even remember what day we met down there, and he walked in, and so we just continue to make sure that everyone is giving us the information and providing us with that so that we can forward that out to the board and the community members as a whole with the information that they need to have. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Delosio. And on that note, I better tell everybody when our next meeting is here. Our next meeting will be here in the library, February 3rd, 7 p.m. And unless there's anything else to bring before the board, let's have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.